Hello, everybody. Today's mentee needs no introduction. He has been featured in New York Times. He has also walked the ramp in New York Fashion Week. Obviously, he has made me as a mentor of his very proud. He's also made the country very proud. Without further ado, let me introduce my mentee, Jainil Mehta.
Hello, good evening.
Very, very good evening, Jainil. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Great, great to see you. Great to see you.
How are you doing?
All good, Jainil. Thank you so much. It has been great. I mean, like it's almost a decade now that we know each other. So quickly tell me, Jainil, what are you doing right now? I am seeing that you have walked the ramp in New York Fashion Week. You have been featured in New York Times. So as a mentor, I really feel very proud of you today. The country feels very proud of you today. So tell me what are you doing right now?
So currently, I am in New York. I am freelancing with my dancing. So I am a dancer, choreographer, influencer, teacher, and I'm living in New York City. But I'm also traveling and doing a lot of things online. So I'm having my base kind of everywhere. I was with a company, a dance company called Nine Chen, and I just left the company a few months ago and started freelancing and building my own brand.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's so great to know. What is your brand name, if you would like our audience to know?
Yeah, for sure. So my brand name is my own name at the moment, which is Jainil Mehta, and I go by the tagline "Dream to Dance." So it all started for me with a dream, and I'm so glad that I am able to inspire other young people to keep living their dream and following their passion. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, Jainil. Very few people get to kind of uh, follow their passion, and B, kind of influence people to actually follow their own passion. And you have done that. I know during our SAT sessions, you would just come from a maybe a Shamak Dawar session or maybe a session, and then you would immediately sit to study. And then at the back of my mind, there would be still some like you may have to again go to the next session, but you handled it very amicably. And right now, today also, you're doing some immaculate job out there. So really, really hats off. Tell me, how has your journey been into the US? So first, you'll have to tell me about your undergraduate study, in which college you did. If at all you have done your master's or your PhD per se, you can tell about that. And how has been your journey in the US?
Mhm. So I entered the US in 2017 for my undergraduate degree in dance. So I got my bachelor's of fine arts in dance from University of Southern California, Gloria Kaufman School of Dance in Los Angeles. So it was like a 4-year program, and since 2017, I'm here, and I shifted course. So I'm here in New York now. So my journey has been like a roller coaster, I must say. Um, Shifting the course, but also like shifting countries from India to come to the US, and learning like whereabouts over here. So definitely it has been quite a journey, but very worthwhile.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember your SAT score was right up there. But like coming back to like you have taken you're done your bachelor's of fine arts. I know per se that yes, there is a lot of thing about, or there is huge noise about STEM. There is huge noise about engineering, math. You are a living example of a person who has perhaps not gone into the STEM way and still making it huge as far as life out there in the US is concerned. So tell me one thing, like this question is for two types of students. One who would want to go into STEM, and one who want to go into something unconventional, which you have done there. So what will happen to a student who scores say maybe 10 marks less in the SAT? This is more with respect to the STEM kind of a a person who is wanting to follow STEM, and what should a person do if he or she has to look at an unconventional way of building up his kind of career, building up his life in the US? So the first question is, what would happen if a student gets 10 marks lesser, say a 1420 vis-a-vis a 1520 or a 1530?
I think for me, like the standardized test like SAT is just one of the categories of an application. So for STEM or non-STEM, I think it is very important that your portfolio is strong along with your SAT scores. So even if, let's just say, someone who has got a 1520 in their SAT but have like very little experience, they don't have kind of like a personality that the university wants. It would be very difficult for them to get into that university. While a person who has a 1420, let's just say that that person is into sports, is into much more detailed research from the beginning itself, that they're curious about their pathway, kind of like proving to the university that you're really worth the effort. So I feel like that person would definitely have an upper hand over someone who has a 1520. So trying to have that kind of balance in your application is very, very important. For me, I did not have the best SAT scores, but I still got into one of the best universities and one of the best schools for dance, mainly because also of my strong profile and my portfolio with my extracurriculars in school, and really like showing them that like when I put in the effort, I am worth the whole selection. So um, I think it just depends on it depends person to person, case by case, but having to do with a strong portfolio is very important.
Wonderful. So basically, right now, like people like you are kind of stalwarts in making something a life out of something unconventional. So a lot of students in India are also now looking at, maybe not, maybe they don't have a analytical mind, or they don't have an affinity towards, maybe say, or their likeness towards a science or a math per se. So what would you tell them how to go about it? If they are good in painting, do they have excellent resources in the US wherein they can pursue their passion and also make a career out of that? Let's say music, let's say painting, dance, as in your case, or maybe architecture. Architecture is still, I think, by far ahead, but then for courses
Yeah.
like these,
Mhm.
what would you
I
say to
think
the students?
yes, I think that that's the best thing about being in the US, that you do have a lot of arts involved in the university itself, and as a study, it's not just as a a hobby or like a club thing that you attend to. It is definitely something that has a lot of research, has a lot of work put into it. So yes, if there's anyone who's interested in music, in painting, in arts, in cinema, into like drama or dance or whatever, there is a space for everyone and anyone here in the US. And what I really liked about the US in general was the flexibility in the courses that I could take. That even if I was a dance major, I did take classes in the accounting school, in the cinematography school, in the arts, like this thing. I did for a Photoshop class, so I could also just do coding, which I wanted to, but I couldn't do it because of my timings. But things like that was very much appreciated here in the US, and especially USC, where you could take classes from different schools and make your study very holistic, which I really was, striving for. So yes, you do have courses like that, which are, unconventional for at least Indians to come and learn.
Wonderful. Um, Tell us a little bit about the life in the US. I mean, still, I'm like, till this point in time, many parents do visit US. They know a little bit about US, but there is still that apprehension to kind of send their ward, a 17-year-old ward or a 16-year-old child, 17-year-old child. They are still little bit apprehensive about uh, sending their students to the US. So tell us a little bit about life in the US as a 17-year-old. What are the advantages that you got, and like how did, and if there were any stumbling blocks, how did you overcome them?
Yeah. I think my mom was very scared to send me in the beginning itself. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like trust between my mom and me. And I think that first of all, that trust has to be like really strong to get to that stage where you have to leave the country. And then right after that, when I did come here, I was very excited because I was going to live alone and all of that. But with that came a lot of challenges in the sense that you have to do your own laundry, you have to cook your own food, get to the bank and finish all like the financial stuff. Um, Wake up in the morning, make your breakfast, go to class, come back and be accountable to have your lunch or get to studying or finishing your class or even just meeting your friends. So everything you have to schedule and plan on your own. So it really keeps you accountable, responsible. And I enjoyed that process just because I was learning along the way. There were like literally the first day or the first week in the US, I had to do laundry and I had no idea to even use my credit card into the machine. So I it was just so much fun learning that. It was not like stressful. There are times when you just don't know what to do, but there are so many people around you that you can take help from. And that was really nice. The resources in the university and in the college itself kind of prepares you for the real world. When you get out of when you get out of college, you kind of already have some kind of a sense.
Right.
There's some comfort. So even when I shifted course, I think I was very prepared to shift course and face those challenges because yes, everyone kind of does face challenge. Even I'm sure even you face challenge in at your age. I'm facing challenges at my age. It's very different. But every like step of the way you are learning something new and something exciting, which is kind of preparing you for this. So I take it like that, and it becomes enjoyable. And yeah.
Wonderful. So, all the parents who would listen to this interview, I'm pretty sure a lot of cobwebs will be cleared with respect to sending their children to the US as a teenager. And what a novel point you put it across. What a nice point that you put it across. That you are accountable and you're responsible, and the freedom is you take right or you make right use of the freedom. So
Mhm.
that's a very
Yeah.
valid point for all the
Yeah.
parents. Uh,
Yeah.
you have met so many people, you have encountered so many people in and around the US. um, tell us how their approach towards students, towards because like I'm pretty sure you would have done your classes, then as a freelancer you would have had to go to different city, might as well perform over there, teach over there, you do online classes also. So how do people in the US? I'm sure US is a land of immigrants per se. So how do they gel well, or how do they look up to students, especially in the performing arts section?
So by students and like my friends and like just anyone who comes and asks me like, oh, what's your major, like that's the first two questions would be, what's your name, what's your major. That's exactly whenever you go to a party, whenever you're going anywhere, that's those are the first two questions. And whenever I say dance, there's always this like change in expression when the person is greeting me, and I feel so nice because you don't see that kind of like a reaction from people when you are in India. And I think like that was really good for me. I think they were just very excited. They wanted to know what I was doing. how I was doing, how many years of dancing have I done, and all of that. They wanted to come watch a performance. It has been really nice and encouraging that way. Um, in terms of employers, like, I mean, my employers are dance experts. So they're, of course, very much, especially when you have a degree in dance, when you have a study, there is always that advantage compared to someone who's just done a certificate program or just done a few months of training, etc. So I feel like for anything, any field you want to go into, is better to have a good holistic study of that thing, because that is just going to give you more advantage compared to other candidates in that firm. So that is something which was very important for me. When I knew that I was going to take up dance as a career, I wanted to take that as a study as well, just because before the 4-year degree, I have done like around 12, 13 years of dancing. But still, the 4 years gave me so much of knowledge that like I'm still, trying to impart that knowledge to my students, and it's not stopping. It's like, there's a flow to it. So yeah, I feel like for like my other like students and like my students and my peers, they've all been very positive about this.
Yeah, so they're very well received by the
Mhm.
industry, by everybody. That's such
Totally.
a superb point you have made, Jainil. Um, uh, One question which parents generally ask me, sir, what about housing? Uh, आप क्या suggest करते हो? These are some of the questions per se. So, what should the students do? I mean, like once they land into the US, as a first year, do you recommend that they stay in-house campus, and then from the second year they can move out? Because like by the time second year sets in, they are also 18-year-old, a bit more maturity sets in. What is your take on that?
Yeah, so for first year, I feel like I think it's also compulsory for people to, for especially undergraduate students, to take up on-campus housing.
Yeah.
And I think that is definitely something which all students should do, on-campus housing for the first year at least. And then from the second year, you will kind of get a taste of the university and the city, and then you can choose to be on campus if that's available, or just go a little bit closer to the university. Definitely for 4 years, you want to be close to the university. You want to really feel the heart of that university. And so it's very important to just know the whereabouts. But for sure, like first year on campus housing, like definitely to take that advantage of unlimited meals, and kind of, because you're kind of like settling in when you arrive. So yeah.
Superb, superb. I know, again, a lot of questions from certain parents. They say as I said, like there is a certain belt of students who inevitably their forefathers have studied in the US, so they know what the culture is all about. But now I'm looking at a tier two or tier three India, which is now aspiring to go and study abroad. So for them, like uh, two three things become very important. One is where do they stay, which you answered right now. Second important thing is food. So like people from different walks of life come over there. So what is the what does what arrangements does the campus make? This pertaining predominantly to like a tier 2 tier 3 cities, because for them even like that is a very important aspect of their ecosystem, their life per se. So what arrangements does the university do? I mean, like especially uh, I'm talking of Jains per se. So very strict about certain diet. So how does the university kind of take care of that?
Mhm. I have had friends who are Jains, and they've managed to live on campus with just being, Jains. So not a lot. Like there are certain foods that does not have garlic and onions. I'm not saying the college is like specifically like, they have a Jain section.
Right.
They definitely don't have they don't have that unless it's a totally Indian university. But there is definitely there are sections where you will kind of know that this is like this does not have garlic potatoes or whatever. I would also just say to be for parents to be a little flexible when they send their child abroad. I think it's very important for the future of the student than the dietary restriction. But at the end of the day, you can also cook, and there's a microwave. So if there's anything, if you're like a really strict gen or like vegetarian or whatever, so then there are packaged food which you can add water to, and then you can heat it up in the microwave, or there's gas as well. So yes, that facility is available. There will definitely be restaurants outside. So once in a while you can definitely go and get gen, like specific food. Sometimes in different colleges there are temples which serve gen food. Also, I remember this during Padushan, there was this like tiffin service around that time, for those 8-10 days, where the Jains, like they had a community, like there's definitely a Jain community. So even within the Indian Association there is like a Jain community, so you can always uh, connect with them and sort out your dietary stuff. So yeah, I mean that is definitely not a problem with food. But for everyone else, um there are unlimited meals on campus, so you can always take the you make use of those unlimited meals. Again, the packaged food, like my mom had given me dehydrated like pav bhaji packets and chole bhature, and then I just had to add water, and that does not have any preservatives as well. So yeah, it's better to like that's exactly how my college life went.
Superb, superb. So, walk me through the a typical life of a college student in the US. Maybe right from freshman to sophomore, junior, senior. Just walk me through your journey. I think that will sum it up all. How
Mhm.
was your journey in the campus,
Yeah.
and how was your journey in the US?
Mhm. So basically, like when you get into the university, the first day, the first week is like the welcome week. So that time they have a lot of like get-togethers, networking stuff, parties, all of that. Everyone's just enjoying that welcome week, and that's the time when you also register for your classes. And when you register for your classes, the college, so the degree program, whichever you have taken, they have like a set of classes that you have to take during that first semester or first year. You make like a course plan. So when you make a course plan, you kind of plan out your first year, second year, third year, fourth year, kind of like a temporary one, and then you can keep switching those courses as and when you meet your advisor. So you have an advisor that kind of helps you out to plan so that you finish the course in 4 years. Yes, if you add in a minor or if you add in a double major, then the number of years might increase, or the number of classes that you take per semester might increase. Now, for each university, it's different, but for my university, we had to take a total of 18 units. So 18 units was the maximum that you could take. And if you get a good score, you can add 3 more units, so which is 21 units. But 18 units was the maximum, and each course is given a number. So let's just say a foundation course is 2 units, another course is 3 units. So if I have to just add up all those courses, it should add up to 18 units. So that's how you plan your semesters. And when you plan those semesters, you also obviously have to see the timings. So I have to also see that while I'm planning my own schedule, the timings are spaced out. I'm having enough time for lunch, or I'm having enough time between classes to go from one location to another location. For my campus, it was a city campus. So sorry, it was not a city. It was an enclosed campus. So it was just there were boundaries within that campus, so it was very easy for me to commute. I could just walk from one school to another school, while some universities like University of Michigan or NYU, they have, it's like a city campus, so you might have to take the train to go to another school or whatever. So definitely having uh, to schedule those times is very important, and spacing them out. So my first year, second year, third year, and fourth year were exactly like that. There were times when I had to like struggle to, find classes and get those classes, because obviously there's a cap with how many students it takes. So for me, especially like for my dance course, we started at 9 a.m. in the morning and until 12. And then 12 to 2, I had a break, and then 2 to 5. And then sometimes I had 6 to 8. So the classes go on till 10 p.m. actually in general for the university. But then it really depends on how you structure it. You might have a class like, let's say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have 9 to 6. Tuesday, Thursday might just be 4 to 5, and I'm done. And then the rest of the times you are doing the course study, you are doing the homework, whatever assignments you have to do, and all of that. So that's that. And Saturday, Sunday is free to do whatever you want. You can go tour the city, meet up with friends, etc. So my first 2 years were very concentrated in the dance study. It was very much foundational. While the third and the fourth year kind of opened up doors for me into different kind of, like, that's when I took a lot of other classes. So first 2 years I had to like really invest myself in the dance school. Third and the fourth year I had more flexibility, but from other majors I've spoken to, it's the quite opposite. The first 2 years it's more flexible for them to take other classes, but the last 2 years for them, especially the last year, it's much more concentrated to what they want to do, where they want to go, placements, etc. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So basically, it's up to the student. So how he can actually well plan his schedule in such a way that he can take time for himself. He can study. He can also network. Speaking of which, how should children actually network? I know, like, first 10-15 days would predominantly be a little bit homesick, the jet lag conditions, but are there any communities within college, outside college, where the students can go network and kind of find friends, find peers, maybe find potential employers? So are there networks within the campus or also within the university and in the city at large?
Mhm. So the first piece of advice is generally is like network in a way that it doesn't feel like networking. Um, but there are clubs which you can. So there are different student clubs that are there if you're interested in anything. Like there are so many. There's a math club, there's a dance club, there's a music club. There is like robotics club. So there are different clubs where you can actually connect with people who are like-minded and who have a similar interest. Of course, there are different like that communities and organizations. There's an Indian association. There's definitely an Indian association that has a lot of festivals and hosts a lot of things. So that way, and I would definitely say that professors have a lot of connections. If you are interested in one of the professors who is like good in like who has kind of like an industry connect, it's very important that you network and connect with them. um so yeah, I mean, starting off with that is very important, and then that is kind of going to expand more and more. You'll kind of get to know much more about the university, about the city, and that's exactly how you'll network even more. There are things outside of the college as well, which if you pay attention, you will get to know from the university itself. um, there are career counselors, there are career events that happen in the university itself for potential employers and all of that. So yeah.
Wonderful. Um, tell me a little bit about teaching assistantship and research assistantship. Yes, of course, when we as mentors, we as coaches talk to the parents and tell them about teaching assistantship, research assistantship, they understand it. But then somebody who's been in the US for almost like 5 to 6 years now, if you can throw some light on how to get a teaching assistantship or how to get a research assistantship to the students.
Oh, how to like for me to get a teaching assistant? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in every actually syllabus, whatever you get, whatever course you enroll into, there's always like this extra like thing where the teacher and the professor is helping you, is telling you, and this is my contact info for there's for extra hours. A lot of the times professors do extra hours as well, and there are different programs for disabilities or for any if you want more work, you can always there's always a senior which is kind of connected to the person who needs help, and then that's how mentorship is also done. So the first thing I would say, the first step is literally just to tell the professor that you need extra help, and the professor will guide you in the best direction possible. Each professor has a different way. Sometimes a senior is connected, sometimes they take extra hours, or sometimes they will help, they will connect you to the learning center. So there are definitely resources for people who need extra help for any assistance.
Okay. What if I want a teaching assistantship? Or what if I want to work as a research assistant with a particular professor? Or what if I want to assist a particular professor to help teach his other students? How is that
Mhm.
possible?
Again,
And
the same. The
acha,
first thing is the professor will announce on the first day itself, but you can always if you're interested in that subject to teach, definitely the first step is to connect with the professor. um, yeah,
and be open about, yes, I'm interested to teach and all these things. And I'm sure the
exactly,
professor may show you a way ahead. Great, great.
exactly, yeah.
Awesome. So you have been featured in New York Times. Tell me your experience about that. And I'm seriously saying I'm a big fan of yours. When I see you kind of like showing your skills in different places across New York, across the things. Uh, how did you feel when you were featured by New York Times? And now that you have walked in New York Fashion Week also, tell us about that experience. That's an enriching experience which students want to actually listen to.
It's just really nice to have your art being acknowledged by newspapers, by people, and it has been a quite a journey to get there. And I feel so happy. um, I feel that there is hope for young people to actually take up this as a profession, as a career. See that there are different heights that you can reach, and at the same time, there are different avenues in the same field itself. Like, I had no idea that I would walk the fashion week, I would dance in the fashion week. No one even knows that that's a possibility. And now the good part is that we've opened up horizons for different careers, different artists, just different people to be involved in different settings. I could have a mathematician come and help me for one of the dances, even if they don't know how to dance. There are a lot of ways, a lot of concepts that can connect me to them. So even, like, for example, robotics. So that's exactly where the career lines are blurred, and I'm enjoying that. And I feel like when that happens, and when these newspapers and people are just recognizing my talent and my artistry, it gives you that hope that that it's changing, like, the yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic, fantastic, Janet. What is the one piece of advice that you would want to give to the students who are writing their SATs in due course of time, and in a couple of years, they'll be landing on the shores of US. What is one advice, or what a couple of advices as a senior you would want to give to them?
Mhm. Regarding SATs,
One, SATs, and two, about in general.
so regarding SATs, I would say just don't take so much stress. It is a standardized test. It is a test. I remember that I had done it twice. By the time the second time came, I was like, at this point, I have to just focus on so many other things that whatever the score is, whatever wherever it lands up for me, it will land. And it landed up at USC. So I just feel like a lot of the times we take so much stress with SAT that we forget about everything else. Definitely give a lot of time to your standardized tests, because that's one of the tests that is in the application. But also work on yourself, on your portfolio, while you're giving those SATs. Um, be Practice, definitely practice whatever you're doing, practice that. It is very important, because that consistency is really going to help in that application itself. And just one piece of advice to any students who are coming here, that just be open to change. I feel like for me, I had a full on plan that this is what I'm going to do. Many things changed, probably everything changed for me, but be open to that change. You might be interested in engineering, and you might even switch to math, and or you might switch to like computer science, or you might switch into, like, let's just say, business. There is a possibility in the US for that, but you need to make that a possibility. And that really, really, really goes to the parents as well. Be open to change. Of course, students will probably, say yes, but parents might say no. Please understand each perspective and the sides, because that change could be that turning point in your life, which is probably going to change everything and make it much better. So be open to that.
Wonderful. That's such in one line you said everything. Be open to change. Last question. How was the mentorship experience with me?
It is amazing, like, uh, I've just, it's very, how do I actually don't have words, because it's very difficult to find a mentor. And having to do something like this is very refreshing and enriching, and really helping so many people out there, including myself. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Jainil. Thank you. Thank you so much for honoring this, and B, really, really thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule and doing this interview. I'm pretty sure this would go a long way in helping a lot of students clear the cobwebs of certain parents. And I think we should do this a little bit more often, so that a lot of pathways would be created for a lot of students who aspire to study in the US. Right? I wish you all the best, and thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.